Hey guys, welcome to Real Estate Jam Podcast. I'm JD Monroe. I'm joined today with my wonderful co-host Annabel and Melissa, and we are super excited to introduce to you one of our friends and somebody that we share a market with, Arianne Lemire. She's the co-owner of Glast Heim Properties and really an awesome person.
They don't want what we know out there.
How a person can go from really almost nothing to becoming a millionaire by owning rental properties.
He would always buy these flip houses, and I just remember thinking, this guy is crazy. Why would he buy that house?
In the past decade, there's been a huge surge in the peer-to-peer short-term rental market.
Become an insider, so you have to know the rules before you get the game.
Every second counts. So make every second count.
Welcome to the Real Estate Jam. Whether you're just beginning or the best of the best, we're glad you're here. We will share successes, failures, and strategies for the action-taking real estate investor. And now to your hosts, JD, Annabel, and Melissa.
We're really excited to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Normally, we kick it off with a brief introduction about kind of where you started in real estate and where your business is now. And that just lets our audience, get to know you a little bit.
Okay, awesome. Well, brief background about me. I was actually born in the Philippines, moved to New Zealand when I was 16, met Chris, moved to Florida. And then from that, we thought we had our whole lives figured out. I was a speech language pathologist. Chris was a software developer, and we started our married life together. But then after about a year in that, we realized that the life that we had wasn't really the life that we wanted. So I was in the medical field. I was the only speech pathologist in the building. I couldn't get any time off. And our family was in the Philippines and New Zealand. So we started thinking, well, what are we going to do when we have kids? We're never going to be able to visit. They're not going to know that they're other half of the family. So we started soul searching and seeing that, this life that we thought we wanted isn't the life we wanted. And we started looking for a way out of that. And then came real estate. Chris's dad had some rentals, so we were somewhat familiar with it. We actually started buying rentals first and then started flipping houses. And now we have a wholesaling and flipping business. We also own rental property. We have 50 units here in Florida. And then we have another 932 units with partners in Florida, Georgia, and Texas. So that's us.
Very nice. Wow, that's cool. That's a great story of transitioning from, that corporate kind of life that there's really hard to get any balance in to real estate. And just transition in there, right now we're going through a lot of trying times with the economy. And it's, we'd like to think that it's not, but it's greatly impacted real estate, especially, I know a lot of our friends have, but it really has impacted us. And shorefront restorations, we've had a complete, pretty much shutdown of our short-term rentals. First, we were just experiencing cancellations, and now Florida has shut them down for 2 weeks from having any guests at all. We kind of wanted to, and I know our listeners would love to hear about how this has affected you and your team. And then with that as a follow-up, what kind of changes are you having to make in your marketing?
Right. Well, first of all, I just wanted to touch on, we're going to be real and talk about the challenges, but I also don't want people to be fearful.
Right.
So take the information, take the facts of what we're experiencing, but please don't ever think that we're not going to get through this. We're all going to get through it. We're very fortunate that we're connected with Melissa and JD and Annabel and a lot of the investors locally. We're all talking about what's happening, figuring out what the changes are and how we can help each other get through it. So we're going to talk about some not great things, but we need to talk about them to figure it out. Okay, so recently there's just been a lot of uncertainty in the market, especially with all of the new bills and acts that just came out yesterday when we were recording this. And there's just a lot of fear and uncertainty. And it's true, there is a like there is a lot of uncertainty, and that's where the fear comes in. And some of the things we've experienced is some cancellations from our buyers. The good thing is we're still working through with those sellers and just being very transparent with them, just explaining to them that, 2 weeks ago, nobody knew that it was going to be like this. And we're working through this. We're still going to help you, but you got to work with us too. So we're extending some of our contracts for the ones that we have, that people just backed out last minute. And we're still working with those sellers. Buyers are still buying. We're seeing just kind of a 50-50. Some buyers are still good. They're buying. They have funding sources. And then half of them would prefer to just wait it out. And you can't really predict who those people are going to be until you talk to them. So what we're doing is we're reaching out to all of our buyers and asking them, how are you? How's your family? How's your health? What's happening? And then asking them after that, what are you doing? Are you still buying? What are you buying if you are? And if you're not, okay, great. Well, I'm just going to follow up with you every few weeks and see that maybe in a few weeks you're buying again. And we're keeping track of all those buyers and just keeping the ones that are buying, where we send properties to them first. And we're also communicating on if their pricing guidelines have changed, their buy box has changed. So those are some of the things that we're doing right now. On the landlord side, it's a little bit early to tell what's really going to happen because we don't really know yet. One thing that we have done is talk to our property managers and just ask them to communicate with the tenants. We're all in a very tough time right now, and we just want to know where our tenants are at. Some of them might not be affected as much, but if somebody is, we want to know and we want to be able to work with them. There's going to be a way where we can get through it together. Landlords aren't like bad people. We're people too. We understand that the tenants have families and jobs, and some of those are affected right now. So if there's somebody affected, we just want to have a conversation and figure out what we can do to move forward. Maybe they lost a job and we can figure out a plan where they might not have the money to pay all of the rent right now. Maybe we can figure out how they pay it over the next 3 months. But there is a way forward. We just have to ask ourselves what it is, how we can work with people, not that we can't.
Yeah, I really love that. I think that it's phenomenal. Taking a passive approach in uncertain times is probably not the best recommendation and the best way to move forward. So I really appreciate and like on your buyer side and specifically with your tenants, taking that proactive approach to kind of combat a problem or an issue in the business before it actually becomes a issue. And I think that's a huge takeaway. It doesn't sound like that much. It just sounds like just something you said kind of casually in passing, but just seeing that you guys are taking a proactive approach to those is, indicative of just, what kind of business you guys are running. So that's phenomenal. And it's going to solve so many problems by being proactive instead of reactive.
Right. We definitely don't want to be caught off guard. There's already a lot of unknowns, and the more we can know, the more we can plan for what's going to come. And I'm not saying we've talked to all of the tenants, but we are actively trying to get a hold of them and figure out where they're at, what's happening. And we're also very careful to not sow fear into them and sow doubt. We want to communicate in a calm manner and communicate that we're all going to get through this together. But we just need an open line of communication so that they know where we're at, we know where they're at, and we can figure out how we can move forward.
Yeah, that's really good. We have quite a few rentals over on the East Coast, Florida. And a lot of those tenants are just like the ones on our buy and holds here in Panama City. They have jobs that are tourist driven. And so their jobs were just gone like that. And so we're having to work with them as well and trying to help get them through it by taking advantage of some of the mortgage companies are allowing us to defer. So that's a big help to be able to help them. So have you changed how you're marketing, or have y'all talked about how you're going to market moving forward right now during this temporary time?
So we're reducing some of our marketing expenses and really just trimming the fat of what's essential, what's necessary, and what's not. So some of the expensive marketing channels like PPC and Facebook, we're toning down quite a bit. Not that we've completely shut them off, but we just reduced our budget. Direct mail, we've also reduced that budget, mainly targeting. That's the thing with the buyers too. So we're one of our buyers. We wholesale and flip houses. Last year, we did about 100 deals. We bought 25 of those wholesales and flipped them. So we're our biggest buyer. So we're taking some of the data we have for the flips that we know we can turn, and mainly targeting those areas. So we're really still heavily marketing in the areas that in the neighborhoods, cities that we like to flip in. And we're turning down some of the areas that we're not. So that's how we're kind of reducing our budget and narrowing it down to our buy box. And a lot of the buyers that we have talked to kind of have a similar buy box to us. So that's good. So if we don't have the capacity, or if we don't take a flip down, we know that we can wholesale it to a buyer who is buying right now. So that's what we're mainly doing in the direct mail side. We're also ramping up some of our lower cost marketing, and that's cold calling and SMS. We didn't really do SMS before, but we're piloting it, seeing how that works. And then we're calling mainly the people we've mailed to before. So we're just calling them, making sure our follow-up is on point. We've actually, this last week, have done more follow-ups than I think we've ever done. And we're getting a lot of good leads from that. No contracts yet. But especially if you guys have been in business for a while, there's a lot of people in our database that 2 months ago might have said, I'm not interested in selling at all.
Yep.
Take me off your list. And now they might be considering it. So reach out to everybody and just make sure you're reaching out in a very, like, we're humans. Remember, we're human to human. Don't just say, hey, are you interested in selling your house? Start with, how are you doing? How are you doing with all these changes? I know we talked a couple of months ago. I'm not sure if anything's changed, but just wanted to see if you might know somebody else who might be interested in selling their house, and just open up that conversation. And we've done that through all of the follow-ups this week, and we're having some good conversations.
Yeah, I love that. That's great.
Yeah, I do too. Ari, there's so many things. I had to grab my notebook so that I could write down so I would remember what to speak about. In there, you said that you guys had been pushing your SMS and your cold calling a lot more. We recently started getting into some SMS stuff. We haven't been marketing to sellers on that, but we've been marketing our properties through the SMS. And we found some pretty quick success with that, and it's super cheap compared to any of the other channels. I mean, for us, it's even cheaper than paying for cold callers or somebody to reach out that way. So we really like that SMS piece
it
of
was
it.
tricky though. We definitely had to iron out the kinks the first few times, our first few iterations, and when we accidentally sent 4 text messages at once, that wasn't all received very well. But we ironed out those little, issues. And
that was me.
Well, I'm sure you got responses.
Yeah, we did get responses. Yeah. Our phone was blowing up.
So many angry.
It wasn't good.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing that I wanted to ask about, so you say that your fix and flip business purchased those deals. When you're transferring, I'm not exactly sure of the way that your company is set up, but are you under one LLC that covers your acquisitions, wholesale, and flip side, and then maybe something different for how you hold your rentals? Is that?
Yeah, so the rental is a whole separate company. And then our flipping and wholesaling business are still in one LLC right now. And we just do the buy internally. Okay. So we lock down, this is what we're paying wholesale, this is our flip side purchase price, but it mainly happens in the accounting.
Right. So in our company, when we have an acquisitions, we call them acquisition specialists, they put a property under contract, and then it goes through the process, and we sell it to an end buyer. Whatever that net amount is what we pay our commission to our acquisitions specialists on. And one of the things that we've been playing around with is how we pay them out on a deal that we're keeping to flip ourselves. And I'm wondering, do you guys do a flat fee, or are you purchasing it as a wholesale at the same price or as a flip at the same price that you would? And then how are you determining what that number is? Or
So our wholesale department treats our rehab department like a normal buyer. And on the wholesale department, on the disposition side, we'll do an exit strategy analysis, which will look at all the 3 different exit strategies. Typically, it's long-term rental, short-term rental, and then rehab, and then there's land. And then we'll figure out what typically the buyers will buy those for, and then we'll pick an exit price. Basically, what's the highest we could potentially sell this for on a conservative side, like not like 90% of ARV, right?
Right.
So we pick that number, and then typically we'll market it to our buyers list, and then our rehab company has to beat the highest offer. So we buy it, let's say we send it to the list, exit price is 75, best offer is 80. We have like right of last refusal if we choose to buy it at like 80,500 or something, and then that's what we compensate the rep on. If that was a $15,000 wholesale fee, they could compensate it on that. If not, they don't. There are some times when we don't send it to the whole list, just because maybe the seller is a little bit finicky, or the deal's kind of shaky already. So we'll mainly just reach out to a few different buyers and make sure our exit price is on point, and then typically we'll buy it a little bit more than exit price, just so the acquisition rep thinks that we're fair, we're taking care of them, we're not just trying to like undercut them.
Right. That's actually a really great strategy.
I like that.
And I especially like the way that you compare what your exit number is to what the other people are willing to buy. That kind of locks in and reaffirms that you're not trying to get one over, because people get real upset when it comes to commissions and stuff like that. If they feel they're owed a certain amount and you feel they don't, and the thing that fixes that is open and honest communication. But those are problems that it looks like you guys are able to completely avoid because of that process. That's another really good.
Right. And I know some people do the flat fee model, and I think it works if you're mainly flipping. It's just we have 75% wholesale, 25% flip, so it's not like we don't buy them at the same price all the time, and we want to encourage our reps to buy as deep as they can if they can. So this allows them to know that if they do buy deep, they're gonna get compensated deep too. So it's worked pretty well, and it's not 100% like accurate, but we just want to make sure that our employees trust us and we trust them. So that's why we do that.
I just have a follow-up about we've seen some changes with our private money lenders and our hard money lenders recently. One we had that we were getting ready to close on, just last week, they come in and change the whole structure, which then puts it outside of a lucrative deal that we had. So I just wondered, are you seeing that with and our private money lenders are tightening up because they're concerned. How y'all seeing that as well?
So on the hard money lender side, for sure, we had our main lender change terms on like just the next day. They actually backtracked, so they're back to more favorable terms now.
Oh, nice.
Which is good.
That's good.
But we reached out to I'll just tell it. Like, so Lending Home is their lender we typically work with, and they changed their terms, I think, like a week ago. They're back to a better term now. Still not as good as it used to be, but better. And then we started reaching out to another hard money lender that was still providing the same terms from before. So Anchor Loans, if you guys haven't heard of them, check them out. So they're still at 90% loan to cost. Lending Home actually came back, and so we're in a mastermind that negotiated with them. So we're back at 90% loan to cost with Lending Home. But it was good to just have another option, because who knows which lender might change their terms again. So it's definitely helped us just widen our horizons and have more backups. So that's good. And then on the private lender side, most of our lenders are people we know, people we have shown them that they can trust us. So we're just communicating with them a lot. We've actually talked about maybe even giving them an extra payment or something, just to show them that they were well capitalized. You don't have to worry. We have reserves. We have 6 to 12 months of reserves in every single deal. And I understand there's a lot of uncertainty there, but please know that you can trust us to make sure our obligations are met and you're not going to be affected by any of this. So we've had those conversations. We're thinking about that, fronting maybe a month or two of interest payment just to actually show them that our money's there. So that's something we're thinking of doing for the private lenders. But so far, they're seeing the news, but they haven't expressed any interest in not continuing to lend.
That's good. And that's what we talked about, similar, just maybe a slightly higher interest just during this time to make them feel more comfortable too.
Right. I think just talk. They're going to have different concerns. Someone's going to want a higher interest. Someone's going to want, instead of quarterly payments, I want monthly payments. So just make sure you ask them what would make them feel safe and secure, and then provide whatever that is. Or they might just say, I want to see Facebook Lives every day. I don't know. Right? It might be something that doesn't even cost you anything.
If it was that, I would be super happy. Melissa wouldn't like it, but I would love it. We think, I guess, with the private money lenders, one of the groups that we're in has been mentioning that their guys are more so, hey, I want to hold my money in the sidelines because I see the stock market plummeting and I want to be ready to buy stocks when it starts to rebound back up. And I guess, again, having those conversations about, well, why did you choose to lend in real estate in the first place? You know, look at all these benefits that real estate has. Look at the benefits that we have compared to the volatility of the stock market, and that kind of stuff is kind of the best way. Ultimately, you know, we don't want anybody to lend to us if they don't really want to lend to us, but helping reassure them on the reason why they chose to go into private lending in the first place, as opposed to the stock market, is kind of the advice that we've seen given.
Right. And then we try to educate our lenders and everybody really of what an average is, because usually that's what they see in the stock market. It averages this. But look, if you have $100,000 this year and then you had a 50% loss next year, you're at $50,000, right? And then the next year, let's say you have a 25% increase. So if you average that out over 3 years, that's 8%, but you actually still lost money. Right? You're at 150 plus 25%, you would be at what? 65, something like that. So you would technically have an
8% average, yeah.
Right? You have an 8% average, but you only have 65 grand. You still lost 35 grand. And some people don't really think about that.
No, right.
And the one thing I like about real estate, you know, we have 401ks and retirement plans too. And it was a little bit, when we saw the stock market on sale, you start thinking, do I put it in there? But then I just remember, okay, hold on. Like, there's a reason I'm not in there to begin with. Why am I reconsidering this?
Yeah.
And I like the consistent, steady returns in real estate. Yeah, we'll get 10% cash on cash or 8% cash on cash, whatever it is, but it's consistent. So I know my 100K next year is going to be 108K. And then the year after that, it's going to be 116K. It's not we're going to have 8% returns, but I only have 65K.
Yeah, we're avoiding that entire roller coaster ride of, what might happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I was trying to do some research on your guys' company, and I see Glast Heim, and I'm wondering if you could tell me where that name came from, or how did you guys come up with it? Does it have a special meaning? 'Cause I think
So it's German for glass home, but it's a funny story. Chris and I, we met online in a game. And when we were starting our business, we were just like, we're not going to spend too much time on the business cards and all that. We're just going to pick a name and go. So Last Time is a place in the game that we met in. So,
cool.
Oh,
that's wonderful. I did see that it was on a game, but that's awesome.
We are nerds of the classic variety.
We were trying to figure it out and each guessing, and I was like, it's not a game, because JD said it was a game. I'm like, no, it can't be a game.
I think it's a game. I think there might be a castle in someplace else. It's Anyways, I thought that was pretty awesome. How long have you guys been in business? When did your business start?
So we started in 2016. So about 4 years now.
And so from 2016, you started out with rentals and then moved into the wholesaling and flip piece. Was that because you didn't have enough money to buy more rentals, and then you started?
Pretty much. Yeah. So when we bought our first rental end of 2015. And then we used the delayed financing exemption, which you can buy a house for cash or private money, and then you can refinance all the money out. So we used that for the first couple of rentals. And then the third rental just needed a lot of work, so we couldn't really pull all of our money out. And we ran out of money. So we said, well, we could try to sell it and see if we can recover the money to kind of do what we were doing again. And then we did that. And it was, at that time, was when we were trying to just find a different job for me, because my job wouldn't let me get time off. So when we saw that we made some money with the flips, we were like, well, this is it. I can quit my job. We'll flip houses and still buy rentals. And that's pretty much where it started.
Awesome. One of the things we're huge proponents of is masterminds and education. We don't necessarily believe that somebody should go out and buy $1 million course before they understand what ROI is, or cap rate, or any of those basic terms. But we do believe there comes a point where education and surrounding yourself with people who are doing the same type of things as you really propels you forward and shoots your business forward. I'm wondering, at what point did that happen for you guys? At what point did you make the decision that maybe you could accelerate faster by getting some assistance?
So it was at the end of that first year. So we met another local investor. His name is Bill Allen, and in the year of 2016, when I think we did like one deal in 2016, one flip, and we bought some more. But in that year, he did like 50 deals, and we just talked to him and say, what are you doing different? And he invited us to this event, and I think I met you guys at that event, Flip Hacking Live, and that's where we just saw that, oh, there's actually people who would share what they're doing, and instead of you making all the mistakes that you could make, I mean, we're all going to make mistakes, you could just shorten that learning curve, and everybody just shares their own experiences and mistakes, so everybody doesn't have to keep repeating them. So it was really at the end of our first year when we looked at that and thought that, this sounds great. If we don't have to make 3 years of mistakes, why don't we invest in ourselves, invest in our company, and see where this takes us? And that's really been one of the main things that helped us grow our business. From one deal in 2016, last year we did 100 deals. So it's been awesome. Really, God's just put the right people in the right time in our lives, and we've just kind of just followed where the path took us, and it is here. So that group is called 7-Figure Flipping. It's not something you have to necessarily pay for. They have a free Facebook group and free podcast that you can listen to, that you can hear from the people in the mastermind group. So you can learn a lot from just the free content. And then when you do have funds available to invest in yourself, and I think that's when you do it. Like if you're still trying to get your first deal, first flip, I think just stick with the free content. The free content is great.
It is.
And you can get enough to where you are making money. And then when you do that, make that money, make that decision. Am I going to invest it in myself? And I will guarantee you the best investment you're going to make is in yourself. Because all of this, whatever dollar amounts, deals, whatever, those actually don't really matter. I don't really care that we did 100 deals last year. But what matters is the person you become through going through that and associating with those people who are doing the same thing, and that you can't ever take that away.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's phenomenal how you guys went from doing one deal a year the first time you went to Flip Hacking Live to last year you were speaking on stage and in front of, I don't know, there was like 1,000 people. I don't know. I feel like maybe there was 10,000, 20,000 people in that. That's the way it must have felt if you were up on stage. To see you guys up there and sharing your story was phenomenal. To see you get the induction into the 7-figure flipping club was amazing.
Yeah, obviously it's an inspiration.
Cool.
To
and
see
that's definitely a good place to start too. If you maybe you're on the fence about investing, if you go to a Flip Hacking Live, when you see these people and you meet them real life in the flesh, you see them outside of their YouTube tutorials or outside of their Facebook page, and you see, wow, all different kinds of people, all different variety. They're finding success doing this. They're investing in one another. They're investing in themselves. It was definitely inspirational.
Especially seeing a husband and wife team is something that a lot of people struggle with initially, but to see you guys succeeding and knocking that out of the park is super awesome. We love to see that.
And we don't have that here because we're a husband and wife team.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging to have a husband and wife team, but I think it makes you stronger too.
Yeah, for sure. And when you go to bed, that's what you're talking about. When you wake up, that's what you're talking about. Great.
We actually have some rules around that. So those are one of the things we learned, that we have to have a week, once a week, we'll have a date where we can't talk about business. And it was really hard in the beginning. Really, really hard.
What do you talk about?
Yeah, what do you talk about? What?
I'm with Ari. We got to have a date night. No real estate.
Yes. It's hard in the beginning with you. Like
that doesn't even sound fun.
No.
Yes, it does.
I wouldn't go anywhere if I couldn't talk about real estate.
That's so funny. And we're all passionate about it, right? Like none of the business owners I know that are great are in it for money, right? So it's not like, oh yeah, I got $1 or $10,000, whatever. That's why I'm here. We're all passionate about it. So yes, we're gonna talk about it because we love helping people. We love how real estate helps us help people. But at some point, we just realized that there was one point in our early investing career where we're just working. Chris was still working his full-time job, and I was still kind of transitioning out of my old full-time job. And then the business was just, it needed everything out of us. So he would work, he'd get home at like 5, and then 5 to like 10 was real estate education, looking at systems, leads, all that kind of stuff. And it was just, we had some issues with our marriage because we didn't even know we had issues. At some point we just were like, hold on, like it doesn't feel right. We're arguing about nothing. And that's when we read the 5 love languages. If you haven't read it, you have a spouse, definitely read it. Yes. And that helped us understand that, Chris's love language is quality time, and my love language is acts of service. That means I like people to do something for me, and he likes people to spend time with him. So in that time of just busy business starting mode, we just didn't have time. And I would ask him, hey, Chris, can you go to the store and get like this for me? And he would ask me, can you come with me? And our love languages were clashing because really he was saying, I want to feel loved, so I want you to come with me. And I was saying, I want to feel loved, so I want you to do something for me. And until we understood that was what was happening, it was really bad. And then somehow we read the book.
That is awesome advice.
We read the book. We understood that, that's what's happening. And we started blocking some time to spend time with each other. Chris then understood that when I was asking him to do something, I was really asking him to show me some love. And I also understood because sometimes it would be silly. Like at home, I would ask, "Hey, Chris, can you load the dishwasher?" He would say, "Can you load the dishwasher with me?" So it was just, we were doing after we read the book, we knew we had to do give and take, right? There are going to be times when he asks, "I want to load the dishwasher together." And I would say, "Yeah, let's go. Let's load the dishwasher together, or let's go to the store together." And there are times when he really, wants to go to the store together, and he'd say, "No, you know what? This is me showing my love to my wife," and he'll go. So that was a really big game changer for our marriage, and it's really how it lasted through all of this stressful real estate business stuff. So just a plug for that book if anybody hasn't read it yet.
That's phenomenal.
I'll put it on JD's reading list.
Wait.
5 love languages. It's awesome. It was
I
like
wrote it down. I wrote it down so that I don't forget it. Yeah, I think those are challenges that a lot of people experience, but not a lot of people talk about. So I appreciate you sharing that with us.
I think we talked about that a few weeks ago. You couldn't identify what your love language was.
Well,
does he have a love language?
This is not about me. This is about Ari right now.
There's a quiz. You can take like a 5-minute quiz, I think. But the book is awesome because it's actually a marriage counselor, and he goes through, like, these were like, they thought the marriage was going to end. And then he talks about stories of what people were going through. And when you listen to the stories, you identify with one of them. So usually your love language is also the things that hurts you the most. So one of the things that happened with Chris and I was his love language was quality time. And we started time blocking, us time in the day. And when silly me, didn't hold the thing, it really, really hurt him. And so it's, when you listen to those stories, you'll hear some of what kind of hurts you and what makes you happy. And I think it's better than the quiz, but you discover more about yourself too. Because I don't think he knew that why he was hurting either. Why the time block hurt him either. So it's really good.
That's good. I like that.
I do too. Well, I think this is actually one of the longest podcasts that we've done so far. But do you have anything else that you'd like to share, or anything that we probably should have asked you that maybe we didn't?
I think one thing that I want to share right now with this uncertainty and crisis going on is just know that you are a leader in your own right, no matter who you are, who's listening, whether you think you're a leader or not. You're leading yourself for one, and then your family and those around you. So please guard your mind, guard your heart, guard your faith, and make sure that what you're putting out there with the people around you and the people you're leading, whether it's yourself, your family, team members, anyone, that you insert some calm and strength into everybody that you encounter, because everybody needs it. The media is going crazy with how crazy everything is, and it is crazy. Like, we're not saying it's not, but just ground yourself and know that this too shall pass. In 10 years, we're all going to be talking about 2020 and how interesting that year was, but we're going to figure it out together. So everybody listening, I just want to call out to you guys. You're a leader. Please lead those around you, because we need it right now.
Good word. I like that. That's great.
And do you have anywhere that you'd like people to check you out if they want to find out more information about you or your business or anything like that?
Yeah, they can go to my Facebook page. I think it's Arianne09, like facebook.com/that. And then I'm also starting a financial freedom kind of group thing. It's called the Wealth Gym. So if you go to wealthgym.com, it's going to go to a Facebook page, and it might, by the time this airs, we might have the website up already. Really, one of my passions is to help people get financial freedom one of the things that's helped us right now with this crisis is we have a lot of reserves. And not only do we have reserves, we also have passive income coming in. So when our active business, like a wholesaling and flipping business, when we have uncertainty there, we know that our needs are still going to be met. And what we found is most people just didn't know that that's even a possibility. So this Wealth Gym thing is us trying to figure out how we can show this information to the world and also provide a community for people to go through this journey of financial literacy, financial education, and financial freedom ultimately together.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's the first time I heard that.
Yeah, I'm going there.
Yep. You wrote that one down too.
We did too.
Well, Ari, we appreciate it so much. We know your time is precious. You've definitely inspired us. And again, that grounded statement is just what we all need. Taking care of one another, staying calm. Thank you for that. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. You guys are awesome. Glad to have you as friends and look forward to seeing you guys. Appreciate you having me on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Jam.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and updates, check out our website, shorefrontrestorations.com, or find us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Shorefront Restorations. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email at info@shorefrontrestorations.com. See you next episode.